first thing that I always say is find a real problem to solve. It's not just about, okay, there is an opportunity here, or I think that this can become big, but something that is meaningful and that kind of makes sense to you. Very soon we realized that if we have to make a difference in education, and that was our goal, right? Our goal was to make a difference in the country. We realized this even when we ran Eklavya School. One of the reasons we left that and started EI was, we said if Eklavya School expands to, I think in those days DPS had about 120 or so branches, something like that. We said even if Eklavya School establishes 1,000 branches, it will not be able to make a difference to the education system of the country. The education system is kind of controlled by some other forces, and the reason for working with government has been to work on those forces. That is why working with the government has never been a kind of a question for us. It has always been obviously we will do it. Having said that, we have also said that we will work with governments only when governments call us and governments value what we are doing. And of course, there are our business development people, you mentioned Pranav and all, who kind of reach out and all that, but we have always found that the most successful projects are where the government values what you're doing, and your goal should be to create that sense where they reach out to you and say that, this is good. Education itself is one of those areas where on the one hand you have the corporates, and you have the corporates, with their CSR, and the CSR is often, like, the data shows that majority of the CSR funding is spent on education. But what the social entrepreneur brings in is expertise, and that is what is deeply missing both in the corporate who has money and is kind of investing in CSR, as well as government. Now, government thinks they have expertise because they run large-scale education systems, and they have a certain kind of expertise. Non-profits depend on funding from someone who is kind enough to fund them. And I was shocked to see, I've been a trustee of Pratham, that even the most respected non-profits are still at the quote-unquote mercy. Of course, they have a huge pipeline, they have good systems in place, but when things go bad, the fact that you're dependent on someone for funding, firstly, and the second, that the funder can tell you, you can spend on this, you can't spend on this, dramatically reduces the ability of non-profits to make a difference. See, right now in India, I think there are two things that we've talked about them, this thing, which are like super influential or impactful. And it's like, if you take the 7 habits, Stephen Covey's model, his first habit is be proactive. Mm-hmm. But his second habit is, begin with the end in mind and first things first. So the second and third are talking about the end and the beginning.